The environment around us influences every aspect of scuba diving, from how we enter the water and what equipment we use, to the type of marine life we will encounter. Understanding the environmental forces that affect us permits us to evaluate conditions and make decisions that will result in successful and enjoyable dives.
This program is divided into 3 sections. First, we'll discuss the water, land, and sea floor that surrounds us. Next, we'll take a look at some potentially harmful marine life and how we interact with the underwater environment. Finally, we'll introduce many of the exciting activities available to you as a Naui certified scuba diver.
In this first section, we will explain the dynamics of the diving environment, including temperature, waves, beaches, currents, and underwater visibility. Water temperature must be considered before every dive. It seems easy to predict that you would wear a thin suit in a warm climate. However, that's not always the case. In Southern California, for example, divers wear wetsuits or even dry suits year-round. Descending in the ocean, or especially in inland lakes, a diver may encounter thermoclines, noticeable, often dramatic transitions between warmer water lying above colder water.
Underwater visibility varies from region to region. Tropical climates boast clear blue water, often with visibility near 200 feet. Colder oceans are rich in nutrients and microscopic life, resulting in generally lower visibility. Plankton blooms, dramatic leaps in minute plant and animal life, runoff from the land, and recent storms can significantly limit how far we can see underwater. Limited underwater visibility does not necessarily make an unpleasant dive. Divers adapt by getting closer to the marine life around the rocks and crevices of the ocean floor. To cope with limited visibility, divers must develop good compass navigation skills.
Waves are generated by wind. The size of waves, that is wave height and wave length, is determined by the strength of the wind energy that created them. Waves affect our diving environment as well. When waves approach shallow water, their energy results in a back and forth sloshing motion called surge. Surge can make swimming difficult, and it can disturb bottom sediments, reducing visibility. Wave energy travels through water, causing each molecule of water to move in a circle. Waves pulse across the ocean, sometimes from thousands of miles away. When waves approach the shore, they feel the bottom. The bottom of the wave slows as it drags on the seafloor, but the top continues to rush forward. The result is a breaking wave or surf as it crashes to the shore. The way waves break tells you about the seafloor underneath. Waves travel close to a steeply sloping beach before they feel bottom. They build and break quickly at the shoreline. Waves approaching a gently sloping beach break offshore and roll in. The size and frequency of waves influences how, where, or if we enter the water. The land and sea interface, the beach, takes many forms, from white sand beaches to rugged rocky cliffs. The nature of the shoreline dictates how and where divers enter the water and provides clues about the topography beneath the surface. Bedrock outcrops hint at underwater reef structure, while a sandy beach indicates similar terrain underwater.
Longshore currents are caused by wind and waves forcing large quantities of water parallel to shore. Beach divers should plan to exit the water down current from their starting point to avoid a tiring and often futile attempt to swim against the current. Rip currents are caused by waves piling up water between the beach and an offshore bar or reef. The water rushing seaward finds the point of least resistance, often a depression or cut in the bar or reef, and a short-lived but powerful current is created. Tides are caused by the gravitational attraction between the Earth, Moon, and Sun. Tidal effects vary significantly from one locale to another and range from as little as a foot to 40 feet. The tides affect our decisions about how and where we dive. Coastal features can result in strong currents as the tide changes. And easy access may become difficult or impossible as the tide changes. Tide tables predict high and low tides. They are readily available from many sources and should be used to plan your dives. Tidal, longshore, and rip currents influence visibility, ease of entry and exit, and even the time when you may dive safely. They are a force to be respected, and proper planning is essential.
The underwater world is populated with an almost unimaginable variety of plants and animals, from the ordinary-looking to the bizarre. Some of these creatures are capable of harming us, but most aquatic life injuries are the result of defensive reactions to something a diver has done. Potentially dangerous marine life varies from region to region. If you'll be diving in a new underwater environment, seek the advice of local divers and instructors who can describe the conditions and marine life you can expect to encounter. Here are some of the most common.
Jellyfish have long tentacles lined with stinging cells. Some species can inflict painful wounds if a diver swims into the tentacles. Wearing an exposure suit helps, but the key to avoiding jellyfish stings is to be watchful of what is in the water around you. Fire coral has stinging cells like jellyfish. This pretty coral-like organism can be found everywhere on the reef. It assumes many shapes, but can be easily identified by its mustard yellow color. Proper buoyancy control and an exposure suit will help divers avoid painful stings.
Stingrays have a bony barb at the end of their tails. They bury themselves in sandy bottoms, becoming almost invisible, and are therefore potentially dangerous to the diver. If a diver lands on a stingray, its defensive reaction can deliver a painful lash. Look carefully at the bottom before you touch down. Stingrays are naturally wary of divers, except in places like Stingray City, where they've been hand-fed and can be gently touched. Sea urchins have sharp quill-like spines that can pierce a diver's skin even through exposure suits or gloves. These animals dwell on rocks and in sand. The only time a problem occurs is if you land on one.
Moray eels have a ferocious appearance and a disconcerting habit of opening and closing their mouth as they breathe, giving divers an excellent view of their long, sharp teeth. Morays are usually timid, preferring to avoid the company of scuba divers. They are curious, however, and with patience, a diver may find themselves the object of investigation. Morays can inflict a nasty bite if a diver reaches into a cave or crevice, only to find they've invaded the eel's home.
Diving on a coral reef, you will inevitably find yourself the object of attention of the great barracuda. These silver torpedo-like fish are voracious predators. With rows of sharp teeth and a broad, powerful tail, they capture their prey with incredible speed and accuracy. For divers, having a curious barracuda hanging over your shoulder can be disconcerting, but rarely threatening. Some divers have been bitten by barracuda, but it's usually a problem of their own making. Divers who like to feed reef fish attract a cloud of snappers, grunts, and other fish around them. It's like ringing the dinner bell for a hungry barracuda, and they blaze through the ball of fish with open mouth. And sometimes they get diver, not snapper. Use common sense when barracuda are around.
The word shark evokes a deep, almost primordial fear in most people. Sharks are beautiful, graceful, and powerful. Observing a shark in the wild is a fortunate encounter, however, one that requires attention and common sense. If a shark becomes too curious, make a deliberate retreat to the boat or shore. We have become increasingly aware that our actions underwater affect the marine life we so enjoy observing. We can help protect the underwater environment by developing low-impact diving skills and an attitude of respect for aquatic life. Maintaining neutral buoyancy will help prevent accidental contact with the reef that can break or crush delicate organisms. Sediment disturbed by careless fin kicks can choke sensitive organisms. Swimming with a slight head-down attitude in the water, fins above the sea floor, will avoid this problem.
Submersible pressure gauges and alternate air sources that hang from the scuba unit may contact the bottom, crushing small creatures and snapping corals. Secure them to the BC. You'll prevent damage to the environment and keep your equipment close at hand. Use caution when approaching the bottom and exercise special care in controlling buoyancy. With low-impact diving skills, we enjoy the adventure of scuba diving and leave no trace of our visit in the undersea wilderness. Diving is a lifelong adventure and learning process. At first, the thrill of seeing a new world is the only reason you'll need to go diving. Once you've gained experience and comfort in the water, you'll want to explore new places and new activities. Deep diving, exploring shipwrecks, or the mystery of night diving may attract you. You may want to explore your artistic side. Still photography and underwater videography are challenging and fun. An excellent way to pursue your interests is through a Naui advanced level or specialty course. Your instructor can tell you more about the programs available in your area.
Completing your Naui Scuba course is an important milestone. It means you've demonstrated the skills and knowledge necessary for certification. Now you can begin to discover and explore the underwater world on your own. There's much more to learn about diving techniques, concepts, and environments. Respect for the power of the ocean and recognizing the limits of your knowledge and experience are part of being an educated diver. Dive often and continue your aquatic education.